let's talk about API security and the Magecart Group and form jacking as a tool of choice. But before that, let's start at sort of the ground floor. Like, give us a sort of elevator pitch on what API security is and what some of the most common API vulnerabilities are.
Sure. So API security is simply I guess I like to use the analogy. It's kind of like an electrical socket in your house,
Okay.
right? So you have API consumers, you have API producers, right? So people that are the people that are providing the data. These are the financial institutions in this case. The electrical socket is analogous to the API. So the API is like an electrical socket. It doesn't matter what you connect to it. You could connect your hairdryer, you can charge your iPhone. The electrical socket doesn't care.
Yep.
The company on the back end, the electrical company on the back end doesn't care what you're plugging into it either. It's just producing this data through this electrical socket. So it's provisioning the service through the electrical socket, which is electricity. APIs are very much the same thing. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter what you are tying to it. It could be a mobile app. It could be a car, right? Cars communicate with APIs.
Yep.
And you have the back end, which is the provider of the data. It's the API provider. It's providing this, provisioning this data. So that's really a quick elevator pitch on what an API is. Securing APIs is a different story. A lot of companies are making the mistake of putting a WAF in front of it and treating it like a website, but that's not really the case. APIs are not a website. Yes, they speak HTTP, they speak HTTPS, like they speak the same protocol that a website would, but you can't secure it like you would secure a website because you're not really looking for things like a SQL injection attack. Right. You're looking for things like, I'm providing this API access key, even though it's valid, should I be getting that data? I have this API key and I'm presenting it to you through like a Postman request, but does it necessarily mean just because I have the key, I should see that? So it addresses the authentication authorization issues, and you need a security solution to do that. So I'm actually looking at API security solutions like the Form Systems of the world, 42 Crunches of the world, and looking at these solutions because companies aren't securing their APIs the proper way, which is why they're still getting breached. And so if you have an API access key, it's like the password, right? So I found these API access keys hard-coded in these mobile apps. It's like having the password to the back-end system.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's like putting the Post-it note with the password on the front door of your building or something.
Yeah. And these companies have no control. Once these apps are published to the app marketplaces, I can sit there and tear apart this mobile app in the comfort of my own home without worrying about the bank's network intrusion detection system or host IDS or anything regarding timing. I can take my time. I can pull this mobile app apart, and it doesn't matter. No one's looking at me. Nobody's watching me until I get the data that I need in order to actually launch my attack.